Hey everyone, what's going on, and welcome to the channel. We are back today and we're going to be talking about some more of the finals. I'm actually really excited for this video because I've been wanting to do it for a few days now, but we're going to be making a dedicated tier list for every single weapon in the entire game. I think that some of these choices are going to surprise you, but without further ado, we're going to get straight into this. If you guys enjoyed the video, like rating is always appreciated. Subscribe if you guys want to see more, because we're dropping lots of finals content here on the YouTube channel, and I do stream every single day over on Twitch, where we're playing ranked, we're grinding through the tournaments, and we're having a lot of fun. So if you guys want to see those over there as well, link to my Twitch is in the description. I do appreciate all the new follows you guys have been showing. But let's get into this tier list. All right, so in total we do have 21 weapons in the game as of launch. The only new weapon that was added at the launch of the game were throwing knives in the light class, which is all the way over here. I'm going to be as picky as I can be when it comes to S tier in this tier list, because I want S tier to be the most broken weapons in the game that are blatantly really strong. And like I said, some might be opinionated, but the AKM for me, after experience and heavy usage, is going to be going into A tier. Currently right now, the AKM has a little bit of a bug where it actually shares the same damage profiles as the SCAR about 50% of the time, which makes the AKM actually really inconsistently good at the current moment. But the AKM just feels like it falls a little bit short. I think once you really dial it in with the FCAR, the AK just kind of seems a little bit subpar in comparison. Don't get me wrong, 36 rounds in its magazine is absolutely absurd. It's pretty awesome right now, but I'm gonna put it in A tier right now. That's a personal take. The CL40, this is the grenade launcher on the medium class. If you're coming from Overwatch and you're a Junkrat main and you just can't get off of Junkrat, I mean, maybe you're gonna love this thing. It is nice because it can direct impact targets, but currently I would probably put it in, I mean, I wouldn't say it's bottom of the barrel D tier, because I could definitely name weapons that are worse than it. I'll put it in C tier. It actually is pretty strong at times. You can take out lights pretty easily, and mediums, especially when third party, you just spam the thing, and the reload's not too bad either. The dagger, I struggle to like this thing. It's extremely weak. The one upside to the dagger is that if you do knife somebody in the back, no matter the class, even a heavy, you will one-shot them. So if you're using invis, you can sneak around, you can make some pretty big plays. Where I think this thing falls off is when you're playing against teams at a high level who are really playing tight, really using their utility well together, and with the amount of explosion damage that's in this game, it's kind of hard to get into someone's close vicinity and stab them in the back. And even if you do, I mean, you're probably revealed in a second and dead. So I'm gonna stick this thing in D tier. The FCAR, on the other hand, coming back to this thing, this is our first weapon. I think that's going to go into S tier, and I'm very quick to put it into S tier, because after using this thing for, I want to say 4 or 5 days straight over the AKM, a lot of the concerns that people have for this weapon kind of get nullified for me. A lot of people say it only has 20 rounds in the magazine, and after using it, you really start to forget that it only has 20 rounds in the magazine. I don't really have a problem one clipping mediums, one clipping lights, and where its power and beauty comes from is its ability to quickly take down heavies. Heavies get dropped with the FCAR, whereas with the AKM, if you're going against a heavy with an auto shotgun, that's where I actually start to shake in this game, but I don't feel the same amount of threat as I do when using the FCAR. So this thing's very strong. If you guys haven't given it a shot, like I said, use it strictly for a couple days and drop the AKM out of your reserve and just dedicate some time to it, and I think you're gonna be really surprised. The flamethrower did get nerfed pretty heavily going into the launch of the game. It actually is fairly weak right now when you're looking at targets. It's not nearly as bad visually blinding wise as it was in the open beta. I'm gonna put it, I mean, I personally just can't recommend it, to be honest. I'm probably gonna stick it in D tier. I really don't like it. It's very range limited. It got a range nerf. I wouldn't use this thing if I was in the heavy class. There's so many other weapons I would prefer. Lewis gun right now, I would say I actually almost want to put it into S tier because it is extremely strong. But I think, like I said, I'm gonna be really strict with it. Only the creme de la creme. We're gonna put it in AT here. Lewis gun is probably the meta option for heavies right now, in terms of range, fully automatic weaponry. If you want to use anything other than the SS812, you're probably gonna want to use the Lewis. It's a super reliable heavy weapon, so it's a sturdy A tier for me. I'm gonna leave it right there. The LH1 actually got some buffs and nerfs. It was kind of just like a little bit of a rework for the launch of the game. Yes, yeah, fire rate reduction. You can see better visually though when you're shooting the weapons, so I actually find it a little bit easier to control. And it also got a damage increase. So I mean, I think that this weapon is really solid. I would put it into A tier just because of how strong it is. I've been dropped by it a couple of times, but it is a playstyle you definitely have to revolve around. You can't be getting in people's faces like you would with, you know, an XP54 or whatnot, or any of the other light options. The M11 as well, another great light weapon. I'm gonna put this into A tier. Super strong, a massive magazine, and it drops people almost as quick as the XP54. It also came with the diamond camo that you got in the very first beta, so it has one of the best looking skins in the game. That's not influencing my take on where it's put in a tier list. Don't worry, I'm not basing it on skins, but it is a very good weapon that I think you should consider in light. M60 is going to be another weapon that goes, I want to put it into the A tier, and I think it's going to be our first B tier weapon. The M60 is a weapon that's kind of like the AKM. Apparently there's a bug with it right now, and I've heard from certain people that it does share the same damage profiles as the Lewis gun at times now, about 50% of the time. But I do think that 100% of the time with Lewis gun stats is going to be better than 50% of the time with Lewis gun stats. So B tier is where I'm going to put this thing. We're gonna move it on to the heavy grenade launcher. And this thing is, we have the medium grenade launcher in C, and this grenade launcher just comes nowhere near as good as the medium grenade launcher. So it's just by default gonna have to go into the tier. It's really annoying to use. I know when you shoot this thing, it doesn't explode when you hit it off of people, which, like I said, may seem like not that important of a feature on a grenade launcher, but when you're in people's face at point blank ranges, it is nice to direct impact them and deal immediate damage. This thing has to bounce off of walls or whatever else to actually detonate. So yeah, D tier is where that's going. It does great destruction, but that's about it. The Model 1887, a weapon I have started to use honestly quite a bit with the medium class, and I do really enjoy it, but I am struggling to want to put this thing into A tier. It has a really finicky, like, I think the best way to describe it is I struggle to enjoy this thing around its very tedious reload times. I know that when you're trying to reload this weapon, at any point before depleting its magazine, you have to wait until the second cartridge has been entered. Like, as you enter it, you can then shoot while in reload animation, but other than that, you have to empty out the magazine. If you actually empty out the model's magazine and you're at 0 bullets, the moment you put the first cartridge in, that's when you can shoot that first bullet. I don't know why it doesn't function the same way as it does at an empty magazine. Like I said, if you have 1 bullet, you gotta go 2, and then as you enter the 3rd, then you can shoot. So it's really finicky. They gotta work on it, but it does do a lot of damage. It takes out lights like butter. You can even drop mediums. It actually does decent damage to even heavies, but B tier is where the Model 1887 is gonna lie. I want to love it, and I love the style and the look of the weapon, but that's it for me. The revolver though, the revolver is incredible. The revolver is definitely going to be in A tier for me. And just to clarify once again, none of these weapons in in tier are in order. It's not like it goes AKM, Lewis gun, LH1, M11. It's not in order. It's just they are A tier weapons in my opinion. I think the revolver is one of the most efficient weapons at taking down heavies in the entire game. It's extremely strong. I actually paired with my friend Pants, whenever we see more heavies than we would like in a lobby, if there's a heavy on every team or if there's double heavies, we put on the revolver because we know we can drop them pretty quick. They're very big targets, they're very slow moving targets, and it's pretty easy to hit headshots on heavies. So revolver is going to be our go-to heavy takedown machine, and that's going to be a solid A tier class weapon for me. The riot shield though, the riot shield has some potential. I think that it's actually a really good weapon to kind of just grief and buy time with. I've used it quite a handful of times, and it's pretty difficult for people to kill you. The riot shield gets in people's way more times than they would like. Even when you're just running around with it, it can actually protect you on your whole left side. So I think the riot shield is not quite B tier. I wouldn't put it in line with these weapons, but I would put it into the C tier class. I think it definitely can do some work and be, you know, a pretty tedious weapon at holding down sites. The SA-1216, the fully automatic shotgun, this is undoubtedly our second S tier weapon. It's just broken. If you have played the finals for more than an hour, you would know very quickly that this is the most annoying weapon in the game. It kills everything. I mean, you drop heavies like they look like lights with this thing. So we do have the SH-1900. This thing, I'm actually a little bit, I kind of think that I'm going to put this into A tier. But now that I'm looking at all these weapons, I'm very likely to drop the LH1 down to B tier. I don't know, I feel like I ranked it a bit high right there. I think that this looks much more healthy. The SH-1900 is actually a really broken weapon. It can two-shot a lot of things. I'm pretty sure you can two-shot a heavy, if I'm not mistaken here. It's busted, but the moment you miss one shot, it does, you know, lose a lot of its value. Light characters can be one tap, mediums can be two tap, and a heavy can also be two tap. The best of the best players will make this thing look like a freak machine. There is a lot of risk, but there is also a lot of rewards. So I'm gonna put that in A tier right there. Yeah, the LH1, I'm gonna bump it down just because it does, like I said, it is a very solid weapon, but I would say it's about M60 solid right now, and that just looks healthier to me in the grand bigger picture here. The sledgehammer, I do want to put it into D tier because I'm really not a big fan of it, but I feel like I have to put it into C tier with some of these other niche weapons, just because I've seen a lot of people make some big potential and big moments out of it. A lot of these weapons, they say they play out a certain way, but a lot of people can actually make them have a lot of value. They can bring a lot of value out of these weapons that you wouldn't quite think could be as useful as they are. It does provide a lot of destruction as well, which is really powerful when it comes to a melee weapon you have unlimited usage out of. Just being able to destroy bridges on Soul with the sledgehammer, just take down buildings with the sledgehammer, that's really powerful and can actually negate some of the gadgets you actually need to carry around if you're using this. The SR-84 sniper rifle, I think that this thing also has a lot of potential. It's not the high, like this weapon doesn't deal the most damage or as much damage as I would like a sniper to, but if you do play with it properly and tie it into your play style effectively as a light with some grapple hooks, playing at range, just constantly griefing and getting picks, I do think that it could be a B tier weapon. I don't think I could tie it into A tier because, like I said, these are just some extremely powerful weapons. Played right, it can have potential. The V9S is going to be one of our final A tier weapons here. An extremely strong pistol. I think that in the betas, it was just busted, especially the open beta, but they did give it a little bit of a nerf, and you know, with that nerf, it's not that it's a bad weapon now. As a matter of fact, I still think it's, like I said, an A tier, one of the best. It just falls short of S tier because some of the S tier weapons are just that good. If you want a single fire weapon to use on light that has a lot of damage per magazine, this is going to be a really good weapon. The sword, on the other hand, the sword, I'm gonna have to put this guy into D tier. I mean, light is just already such a finicky class to play. There's so much risk to it, and having to get up in someone's face and hack them a handful of times, it's just not the most ideal tool to be using as a light. There's, like I said, so many other options on this tier list I would rather use than the sword. The throwing knives, I would love to put them into C tier because these things are really cool. Some of the most satisfying things to use in the game. Every time you hit a shot, you just can't help but feel like a beast with it. But it's also, in my opinion, gonna have to go into D tier. It does not have rewarding damage profiles. The hitting the shot itself is rewarding, but the reward damage wise in itself is one of the biggest letdowns in the entire game. Hopefully they give that thing a bit of a buff in the future, and maybe it could be meta one day, but it definitely isn't right now. And the last weapon on the tier list is the XP54. I think this is our final S tier weapon. Funny enough, we have one S tier weapon for each of the class. I think FCAR is S tier of the medium, the shotgun is S tier of the heavy, and this is king in light right now. It shreds. It does so much damage. If you go against a light player who actually does have really good aim, I mean, outside of the shotgun, which once again is just blatantly busted, this thing's damage profiles actually make sense, and you'll delete yourself and disappear quicker than you can probably react. It's pretty impressive. So this is my tier list for season 1. Let me know what you guys think of this. Oh, like I said, this is season 1, but this is pretty much off the first week of the game. I don't know if they're gonna drop a mid-season update. We'll keep this tier list updated. Let me know what you guys think of the tier list. Let me know what you guys think of the weapons and where I put them. Are we sleeping on some certain weapons that, like I said, we're just not seeing the potential of? I'd love to be surprised or, you know, have my head turned, but this is it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the tier list, and I hope to see you guys over on my stream. We could talk more about it over there. That's where I stream every day. Link to that once again is in the description, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Keep up, stay out. Peace out.